Hey, man, it's Wednesday, but we're doing Big Baby and Friends, Big Baby and Parlay Pete Thursday podcast today because I'm traveling. So, anyways, let's open it up, man. We got a good show for y'all today. We're going to talk about NFL offseason, Tom Brady coming back, Colin Kaepernick trying to make a comeback, Baker booking his ticket out of Cleveland, Deshaun Watson. We have a lot for you, man. We're going to even hit some pop culture stuff, some Kanye versus Pete. But let's open up with when you're good, it doesn't matter. You know, we all have these high standards for life. We have these high standards for people. But guess what? When you're good, those standards go out the window. Look at Deshaun Watson. Everybody had all of this stuff to say of how could you bring him into your locker room? There's going to be women who work for the franchise. What about your women fans? And how's that going to make them feel when you bring this guy in with these allegations? Well, the Saints don't care. The Panthers don't care. The Falcons don't care. The Browns don't care. The Colts don't care. And there's some other teams out there who truly don't care, but they know they don't have a chance. And that's what happens when somebody is good at something. All is forgotten. You think about the GOAT coach, GOAT quarterback, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Spygate was a thing. We all know it happens, but guess what? They're great. Nobody cares. Deflategate, that was a thing. Tom Brady set out games for that. Does it come into, do we question his GOATness? No, because he's freaking good. Daryl Morey came out here and stood up against China, one of the biggest sources of income from the NBA. But guess what? He's well employed, well paid, and running one of the best teams in the NBA. You know why? Because he's good. When you're good, the other stuff doesn't matter. Just think in your life. Think about some of the coworkers that you have, and you have the ones who are awful. They're awful at work, but they're really cool people. So you tolerate their awfulness. But then on the other side, you got one dude who's an asshole, total dick. You don't like the ground he walks on, right? But he does great fucking work. I mean, one of the best workers on staff. And you know what? You know you can count on that guy, so you tolerate his assholeness. You tolerate that stuff because he's good. Kanye West, he goes crazy sometimes, as some would like to say. He would say he's not crazy. He's just talking. But let's look at how we frame it. But he's really good at making music. He's really good at his fashion designing. He's an influencer. He was an influencer before being an influencer was a title. And guess what, man? We deal with Kanye because of his talent. Hell, look at his ex-wife or his wife. I don't know where they're at in the conversation today. Kim. We all know she's famous for the sex tape. But are we really holding it against her? She has a great show. She has a great beauty line. She has Skims or whatever. She does all of this stuff. And she's elevated herself and separated herself from the sex tape. Now, do we still watch it? I hope so. But nonetheless, when you're good, people forget about all of the bad. So Deshaun Watson is a prime candidate for this right here. And he's going to go to an NFL team. There are going to be some people who are upset about it. And guess what? They're not going to remember it in week 3 when it goes for 350 and 4 touchdowns. Colin Kaepernick's trying to come back to the league. But guess what? Colin Kaepernick, before you took a stance that was controversial, you weren't that good. So it's easy to let you go. So for all of you who hear this, man, work on your craft. Work on your craft, develop your craft, because once you become a top 1% or a top 2% or hell, even a top 10 to 15% at what you do, you get to call the shots and you don't have to code switch. You get to be yourself. And, you know, that's what we want out of life. We don't want to have to fall in line to meet their needs just because we're not good enough, because we're average. Strive to be better. So they have to deal with you. But anyways, let me bring in Parlay Pete, man. Parlay Pete, man, how you doing today, dog?
You know, we have no reason to complain. We're doing fantastic. But you know what? If we did have a reason to complain, nobody would care. And I think that is an appropriate way to address our people today, because nobody gives a fuck about your complaints, just like nobody cares about your tweets at Barbs.
Had the Barbs came after you or something?
No. Just an observation of kind of what's been going on.
You know what? I'm happy you bring up the Barbs real quick, because Nicki Minaj is also one of those people who makes good music, so we deal with all of her extra nonsense and her Barbs. I was listening to some Nicki Minaj clips the other day from her conversation with Joe Budden, both the podcasts that they did that I could not finish. I just could not sit through her talking, and some Instagram live stuff. And she was talking about how men should not talk about women, especially like these the guys from the Fresh and Fit podcast should not be speaking on black women, because women don't do things for men, they do them for themselves. And I'm like,
I heard you talk about this actually.
Yeah, and I talked about it on the pod by myself, because I'm like,
listen, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's bullshit. You didn't get that BBL to be happy with yourself.
You're absolutely right. And that's one of those things. It's just one of those things where people can't be truthful with themselves. And because you've got people like the Barbs that will, they're yes men essentially, right? Wouldn't you say that? Yes. You can do no wrong. Here, as big of a Kanye West fan that I am, I can even look at some stuff. Like I said, some of the stuff he does on Instagram, I wouldn't do it, and I don't agree with it. But at the end of the day, I know that at the bare minimum for him, at least he's being himself. It could be considered delusional or whatever, but he's being himself. Nicki Minaj lying to herself talking about BBLs. Like, she's lying to herself. And
Bro, and I really hate this, and I joke about it on the pod when I start talking about women and black women, and I go, and I say stuff like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have an opinion on black women. You have to ask them, because there's becoming this growing sentiment that if you are not a specific group, you can't talk about them.
I'm sorry, Lee. We got some breaking news.
What we got?
Von Miller, 6 years, $120 million.
Cowboys.
The Buffalo Bills.
Whoa!
What a move.
Back top.
31. I mean, what a splash. I'm just saying, for the Bills, let me think about it. When they signed him, you want to know what the owner and the GM and the coach said? They said they got in that office, and before they presented the contract, they played the clip of that 13 seconds in the AFC Championship game, or the AFC Divisional. And they said, can you help prevent this? And Von said, I'm the guy. I'm the man. No, Von did this. He showed them 2 rings. He said, what do you think? And they said, right answer. And they sent the contract through. What a move, though. What a move. What a move by the Bills. The Bills probably automatically are about to become the Super Bowl favorite. They were already one of them. But my goodness, what a talented team.
Hey, what a front office to come in there and look at where they were last season and go, hey, man, our pass rush wasn't what we wanted. What's up?
By the way, O.J. Howard signed with the Bills as well.
Wow.
They're bringing a lot of people to North New York, man.
And then you look at, McKissick flakes on him to go back to the Commanders.
He went to the Bills.
No, he reversed and went back.
So he pulled a Granny Gregory.
Yeah, McKissick flips on Bills, returning to Commanders. Probably worst career move of his life.
Yeah, because that backfield is so wide open.
Exactly, and the Commanders, they got Gibson, who I think we like. But for the Bills to come drop their nuts on the table, Von Miller needs to go to the Denver front office and say, hey, thank you for getting me out of here and trading me to the Rams, the team that was winning, so I could show people that I still got it. I just need to be on a team where I can rush the passer.
I've got talent around me, which the Bills do. Think about it. The Bills had the number 1 defense in the NFL last year.
And what people don't understand about pass rushers is a pass rusher is not nearly himself if he doesn't get to rush the passer. And when you're on a bad team like Denver was last year, or some would say a slightly below average, who's now a Super Bowl favorite, fuck out of here. you don't get to showcase off your pass rushing skill. Again, I look at the most recent dominant pass rusher the Falcons have had. Vic Beasley got to be Vic Beasley in that season because we were leading a bunch of freaking games. So he was able to tee off.
Yep.
And
It's easy to rush the passer when you're up 17 early, and you know that they're passing pretty much every down.
Exactly. Dang, man, Von Miller to the Bills.
What a move!
Hey, Von, Barbs, you got saved by Von because I was ready to give y'all the business.
Man, that's big news.
That is
big news. That is big news.
All right, man. So let's get to some of the other big news of the week, man. Tom Brady is back. He's unretired after his 40-day retirement. I don't really know how you can even call it a retirement.
It wasn't.
He didn't miss any games. He didn't miss any offseason stuff. He came back before free agency, so the franchise was able to negotiate contracts knowing he's their quarterback. What do you think the spin on this was? Like, why did he even retire?
I believe kind of what some of the reports are saying. I do believe that he possibly didn't want to play in Tampa.
Okay.
And I think that for him, more than likely, I do think that maybe it's a dream of his to play for the 49ers. If that's who he grew up rooting for, everybody, even if it doesn't work out, everybody has this thing in them when it comes to coming back home. And I'll use myself as an example, very small example, but one of my dreams when I left Stevenson High School was to one day play at that gym for another school and beat them. And I'd be playing. Yeah, obviously I'd be playing. I got that opportunity. Unfortunately, it wasn't at Stevenson, but we played them at Center Court out here on the east side. And, of course I started, I was starter. But me and my buddy Latana, he also left. We left at the same time. We got that opportunity and we got to beat them. And so everybody has this. Now that's as a competitor to go back, right? But I'm just saying in general, there's this idea of coming home. And, I think that Brady had it too. I think that it is something that he's wanted to do. And he just hadn't had the opportunity to get to do it. And Bruce Arians, I think that BA calling him out he's probably like, all right. Then maybe even the whole AB thing could have had a little bit to do with it too, because that is Tom's guy. And it's like, well, maybe he looked at that situation and said, this is bull. You know what I mean? Like, that's bullshit, basically. And especially if that what AB was saying was true, I just think that it was more along the lines of Brady and BA's relationship. That's why when BA is getting asked about it, he's talking about, even if somebody tried to trade for Tom Brady, we would ask for 5 first-round picks, all this, that, and the other, while he's retired. And that's almost like BA directly talking to Tom, saying, look, dude, if you're going to ever play football again, you're at least going to do one more year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But you know something interesting about that? And this is not my original take. I took this from Nick Wright. I think that conversation is above BA's pay grade. I think that Tom Brady is at a place in his career, being the GOAT, and because he delivered a Super Bowl already, he can kind of bring the GM and the owner in the office. Maybe not even bring the GM. Talk to the owner, talk to the Glazers and say, hey, here's what I've done. Here's what I want to do. Can you make this happen for me?
Right.
And here's how I'd like for you to make this happen for me. I can leave and you get no assets, or I can just fucking leave and never come back,
Choice is yours, right? And
right. BA, I'm going to liken BA to Harbaugh, college Harbaugh. Is that John or Jim? Jim? Yeah, Jim.
Yeah.
Is that he's good for a little while, but I don't think anybody wants to deal with that for a long time. I could imagine being a GM and having to deal with BA constantly calling out my quarterback. I don't care if it's Jameis Winston. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. Hey, BA, stop. Just stop. Do it in the film room. You don't have to do it in the media. With the Antonio Brown stuff. And did you watch any of Antonio Brown on the podcast with Ryan Clark, Shannon Tatum, and Fred Taylor?
I did not.
So he came on there and they had a conversation, and AB and Ryan Clark had a little bit of media beef, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they obviously worked it out behind closed doors, and then they get together and they're talking about like their relationship, and their relationship was like actually, it was a loving, contentious, ego-driven relationship while they played together. So it made sense why AB was like tight about Ryan Clark criticizing him in the media, because he's like, hey, bro, come on, bro, we better than that.
But also too, especially in football, when you're directly going against somebody, they were going against each other essentially every practice, And with Ryan Clark, because Ryan Clark was a safety, he wasn't a corner. Of course, AB takes the top off defenses. We know that even though he wasn't the tallest receiver, he was certainly a vertical threat. So he was always getting to that third layer. And, especially if I was about to say Rudy Gay. Who was one of the Steelers corners? The last name was Gay.
William Gay, I think.
What was it?
William?
Yep, William Gay, right? If he's beating William Gay, Ryan Clark's the one that's got to get him in practice. And so certainly I'm sure there were times where, and as a safety, we know how safeties play. They're headhunters. And
especially Ryan Clark of that generation.
Right. And so just imagine that in practice. I'm sure that there were heated stuff just playing against each other, even in practice, even as a teammate. And of course, with AB doing all that BS, like think about it. AB got on Facebook one time. It was a lot of stuff. So I could see how that relationship, even post Ryan Clark's playing days, it translate even now into something to where it's just like, bro, they probably aren't as bad. They're probably really friends in reality.
And that's what the conversation like show, that they're really friends. And Ryan Clark is speaking on what AB's doing. AB's hearing it, probably not hearing it fully in context, hearing the little bits and pieces. And it's like, bro, you know me, talk to me, right? But in that conversation, Ryan Clark was able to vouch for AB and BA, Bruce Arians, not having a good relationship back in Pittsburgh, because Bruce Arians didn't want to start him. Ben Roethlisberger didn't want to start him. But Ryan Clark said he even went to management and was like, hey, he was like, if Emmanuel don't come back, bro, they told him that if Emmanuel didn't take the deal, they were going to sign AB, because AB was like killing these niggas in practice. And it's like, why am I not getting on the field? And Ryan Clark was able to validate that story. And you go, AB was like, BA didn't like me. He didn't like me when he had me in Pittsburgh.
He's exploring offense.
And he said he didn't want me. I know he didn't want me. I was there because of Tom. So, like, I'm not mad at Tom. But when I tell you I'm hurt, I'm going to go out here and put it all on the line for the team. But then you're not going to give me the ball. And then you're going to tell me to get the fuck up out of here. He asked Ryan Clark, he's like, what would you do if a coach told you to get the fuck off the field? You going to fight him. And Ryan Clark was like, I don't know what I would do, so I ain't even gonna speak on that. Which tells you that it could have went there, because, hey, come on, bro, I make more money than you. You're not gonna tell me to get the fuck off the field when you know I'm hurt, when I sent you all this stuff, and then you're gonna tell me to leave?
Yeah, and to that point, even with that, like I said, I think Brady ultimately didn't want to necessarily be there, but I think that his itch to play ball, he knew that and it was an odd way to retire. You lost to who was the eventual champs. You lost in a comeback effort, and you led the NFL in passing yards. And I don't know if he led it in completion.
He had 43 touchdowns.
And you threw 43 touchdowns. You threw the same for every year that you've been on this earth. You threw a touchdown for it that season. So, like, I mean, I think that it's no surprise that Brady came back. It was a true Brett Favre move, honestly. We just know when guys just can't get that itch out of them. Like Brett Favre, when you think of Brett Favre, I mean, when you think of most NFL players, you think of football. But when you think of just certain guys, I mean, John Madden comes to mind. I'm just thinking about, man, this guy that's so passionate about football. Like this is it. Football is his life. And maybe he was around Giselle and the kids and was like, shit, I got to get back on that grass,
Fucking kids.
Yeah, I got to get back on that grass. So I'm not surprised by what Brady coming back. I'm really not. And
I'm not either.
Honestly, fuck him.
Yeah, absolutely. But I am.
Now this Deshaun Watson thing would have really heated up.
But before we leave Brady and go to Deshaun, I think that Brady tried to make the power play to get what he wanted. Couldn't happen. Because I don't think he was happy with the Bruce Arians stuff. Having to run Bruce's offense the first year. Like, hey, bro, let me run my offense. Like, I know what I'm doing. Trust me, Bruce. I know what I'm doing. Okay. And then that rumor comes out that he and Leftwich would come up with a game plan, and then Bruce would redline it. I believe that. That doesn't come at like stuff about Brady that comes out isn't bullshit because not much comes out about Brady.
Bruce is an offensive guy. And so,
And he's like, hold on, how's this quarterback and this young offensive coordinator who I gave a chance to going to tell me what to do? Hey, look, because they're working together every day, Bruce. You're head coaching, hopefully. And then who was it? I was listening to somebody's podcast. Sorry, I don't remember. And a reporter from the Tampa area came on and said that Bruce came to him and said, hey, this story about me and Brady not getting along is bullshit. Like, how can we get rid of this story? And I go, yeah, you do want that story to go away, which tells me it's true. You want to take the narrative away from Tom Brady.
Yeah, and it's just, Bruce is a football lifer. He's like, I put in more work in this game than Brady has, right? He could say that technically. He's been in the league long. He's older than him. So, and he's a coach. And, a guy like B.A. probably could have a conversation with Belichick and be like, how'd you deal with this shit? Because you want to talk about divas behind doors. I'm not saying that Brady's a diva, but he also he's warranted. He can do whatever he wants. And so
you don't have to say Brady's a diva. I'll say that Brady's a diva. Look at the dates and times that his information came out. He drops the commercial. He drops the Hulu ad during the Super Bowl when he leaves New England. Come on, bro. The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Then the retirement rumors start coming out right around the Super Bowl. Was it right after the Super Bowl he announced his retirement?
Yep.
So it takes over the post-Super Bowl media cycle because, sorry, Matthew Stafford, we care way more about Tom Brady than we care about you. So he takes over the offseason. Then anytime he's talking to somebody on his own podcast, he keeps leaving the door open. So weekly, there is a conversation about Brady. Brady is like, he just wants to stay in people's mouth.
That is nasty, man.
That is nasty.
That's disgusting. Yeah, though. Him, and then you're fighting with what some would consider maybe your rival in Aaron Rodgers, right? Who also is a guy that likes to continue to be in the media. Think about it. He agreed to that he was coming back to the Packers last week, and we didn't get the details till yesterday. And it's kind of like, but he said that the details were wrong, and it's like it was damn near the same fucking deal. They said 4-year 200, 3-year 150, and then they said there's like 2 voidable years after those 3 years. So it's just like, all right, man. You know what I mean? Whatever. You're going to make $50 million a year, and you're going to play for the Packers for the foreseeable future. And so it's just interesting in general. But fuck Tom Brady, man. Let's get on to the real story of the day and of the week and possibly of the NFL season.
We're talking about Deshaun Watson's possible welcome home tour?
Yes.
I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming.
Back where I belong. I never felt so strong. Feeling like there's nothing that I can't try. And if you feel it, put your hands high. Hey.
What song was I thinking? I was thinking of his other song.
I was thinking of Diddy and Skylar Gray.
Where I belong.
Yeah, that's the song, right?
Yeah. Country.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
That was Diddy's verse that I was rapping.
You said Diddy?
Yeah, that's how he starts the song.
No. You're thinking about I'm thinking about some country shit.
Oh, well, either way, it's a Diddy song. So I just read Diddy's verse.
Anyways, so the Falcons, they became a dark horse, a sleeper of sorts, a couple of days ago to get Deshaun Watson, and he took a meeting with the Falcons today. Now, in order to have a meeting with Deshaun Watson, you have to send over a package that the Texans would agree to in order for that meeting to occur. And he already had meetings with the Browns, the Saints, and the Panthers. So if he wanted to go there, he wouldn't have left. He would have went. So he's given the Falcons a chance. Rumors are that he contacted the Falcons. If you know anything about the Falcons and Deshaun Watson, again, he is from Gainesville, Georgia, just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Falcons facility at Flowery Branch. He was a ball boy for the Falcons. And I mean,
let's not forget this, and minority owner, Warwick Dunn, former Falcon, helped build his mom a home when he was younger. And he has a relationship with Warwick Dunn, who is still very active, as I said, as a minority owner in the Falcons organization. Continue.
And let's be honest, man. He spent his off seasons in Atlanta. I know someone who can vouch for it. We're looking at him.
I've seen him. Yeah.
And, he goes from Houston, a good city, a great nightlife city, come to Atlanta, reshape his image, Delta, Coca-Cola, QC. And I mean, hell, his personal quarterback coach is based out of Atlanta. Morehouse alum Quincy Avery.
Well, and then let's not forget, too, interesting timing that the Falcons apparently met with a wide receiver that some consider a number one. I think he's just a really good two. And that, I guess he's been a one in the NFL for sure for many years.
Yeah.
Interestingly, he meets today with the Falcons. I don't know. Maybe if they're meeting with him, clearly there's something that they're telling him is going to happen or what direction possibly that the team is going to go in. Because you don't just take a meeting and you don't know who your quarterback's going to be.
Exactly.
So either they told him, and maybe Jarvis would be fine with playing with Matt Ryan too. Because first of all, too, let me get this off my chest. We're not going to disrespect Matt Ryan here, because Matt Ryan is still, in my opinion, the greatest Falcon ever. I don't even think it's really opinionated at this point. I think it's fact. And so when we talk about longevity and who's given the franchise more than anyone and the most accomplished, Matt Ryan is the person that you name. And so we're not going to disrespect Matt Ryan and act like people don't want to play with Matt Ryan. But certainly playing with Deshaun Watson is a whole different beast. And I'm as much of a Matt Ryan fan as I am. I can admit that. There's nothing. What did Future say, Lee? Ain't no way around it. There's no way around it. I can't sit here and act like I'm not open to Deshaun Watson coming and Matt Ryan going, even as a huge Matt Ryan supporter. We upgraded quarterback. He's better than him currently, and he's younger, and it solidifies your team for the next 10 years possibly. And so, I just think that it was interesting timing that a guy like Jarvis Landry meets. And you're clearly in a position to where the Texans have accepted a trade, and now it's just up to Deshaun. And based on, now granted, I can't give Twitter any sense, like I can't give my 2 cents to Twitter, but based on what I read on Twitter from putting together people with blue checks and stuff like that, which they lie to, and they're not correct all the time. Hell, Adam Schefter said Tom Brady was retired. But nonetheless, from what I put together, it sounds like it's down to us and the Saints. And so Falcons and Saints, boy, this rivalry would go even deeper depending on what happens, possibly tonight, according to Jay Glazer.
Let's hope so, man. And again, Matt Ryan, greatest Falcon ever. He deserves his flowers. The city hasn't rallied around him, won't rally around him. But let's just cut to the chase. Deshaun Watson comes to Atlanta. That's the hottest shit since Honey Lemon Pepper Wings, hottest shit since Michael Vick. It would be the best quarterback that the team has had that the city loves. Okay. Um, Matt, Deshaun Watson at his peak is more talented than Matt Ryan. Okay. More
Agreed.
talented. But I don't know that he can execute at the level that Matt Ryan executed in that Kyle Shanahan MVP Super Bowl season. Okay. Like that is a great
offense of all
yeah,
time.
that was one of the greatest offenses of all time. And we have to give that team its respect. So therefore, we have to give Matt Ryan that respect. That was Dimitrov at his best. Okay, he actually had the pieces going in the cap right. But
which is why people have been saying that this was a long shot to begin with because of the mess that he created with our cap. You know that Julio Jones is still counting towards our cap next season.
God, he might as well come. He might as well come back.
We might as well look.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
I forgot to play it.
You did. And so he might as well come back. I don't. Would you be open for if we got Deshaun Watson coming home? This might as well be Julio's home. I know he's from Alabama, and of course he went to Alabama, but everybody knows that Atlanta and South Carolina, for the most part.
Oh no, we lost Parlay Pete for a second, but let's be real. If you're from the South, Atlanta, and you ever get to Atlanta becomes your home. South Carolina's cool. North Carolina, Raleigh-Durham area, yeah. Charlotte, okay. But Alabama, Mississippi, some people in Mississippi, they choose Memphis depending on what part of Mississippi they're from, or Louisiana. But if we're being real, Julio's home is Atlanta. He is a staple here in Atlanta, and we would love to have Julio back for the right price, which would be like league minimum, if we're being honest. Let's see. There we go. He's back now.
Have no idea what just happened there.
I don't either. I think maybe Russia's trying to get involved.
They could be.
Hey, look here. We're not talking bad about Russia, but we don't have anything to say about the Russia.
We're not talking politics at all.
Not at all. But back to what you were saying about South Carolina and whatnot.
South Carolina, Alabama, these are states, Mississippi. Mississippi might be more than New Orleans, but these are states that kind of gravitate towards Atlanta, sports teams.
Hey, it's funny. Hey.
That South Carolina might go North Carolina, but depending on what part of South Carolina, you're probably a Falcons fan.
Hey, let me tell you how I just really continued that rant that piece for you when you left. I was like, yeah, South Carolina, y'all kind of got North Carolina, but really it's Atlanta. Alabama, once you go to Atlanta, it's Atlanta. Mississippi, well, some of them, they will identify Memphis, depending on if they're North Tennessee, Mississippi or Louisiana, but they're Braves fans.
Exactly. And the Braves are America's team anyways to begin with. And so it comes as no surprise just in general. And I just think that with the Falcons, you've got this organization that ultimately wants to win. And I think that with the new faces in Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot, this would obviously be the splash that they're looking to get to make their mark on the franchise, if you will. And I think that
because Terry got to get moving before Rich steps back in.
Or you do another season where let's just say you go 7-10 or 8-9 again, and then you get that third season. You don't have a winning record. You're pretty much, you might get fired. And Arthur Blank has shown that he's a patient guy. He is pretty patient. He's been very generous. He likes continuity, and Arthur's only getting older himself. And I'm sure that one of the things he wants to do, he brought the soccer team to Atlanta, which was a big deal because they sell out and stuff. And then not only did he bring a soccer team to Atlanta, they won a championship already. I think that Arthur buying this team in 2001, I believe, I think that that's something that he wants to get done. I think that he wants to bring a Super Bowl here. If I'm not mistaken, if Arthur's not from Georgia, certainly because he founded Home Depot here, he spent a majority of his life here. He considers Atlanta his home. And I think that he would like to bring a championship here. And like I said, he's not getting any younger. So the sooner that he could do it, the better. Not to mention, at the end of the day, and this is my personal belief, it would depend on how the roster shakes out, but the Falcons get Deshaun Watson. My belief would be this: as it's currently constructed and you just draft and you might make some minor moves in free agency, tops, they still win between 7 to 9 games. I don't really see them catapulting into this, oh man, they're a contender. I think that after next season is when they can really start talking about it, because that's when they'll have all their cap. And so it's another thing for them to be able to sell tickets, because certainly if Deshaun Watson comes in, and let's say we still go 7-10, the narrative will change to get Matt Ryan's sorry ass out of here to Deshaun Watson doesn't have help. The narrative will switch very quickly if
Absolutely.
that happens and the record is the same. It will turn into he doesn't have help. Well, from Matt Ryan's the problem to Deshaun doesn't have help. And that's the truth. And I think that's the truth too.
Hey, let me tell you something funny about media narratives, right? So I'm reading this book right now called Game Change. It's a super political book, and it's covering the 2008 presidential election. And one of the biggest issues that the Clinton side had was that anytime they would put out an anti-Obama story, the media would not take it and run with it. Like the mainstream media would not take it and run with it. But anything Clinton that they didn't like, they would take it and run with it. And to her own detriment, that's honestly why she that's honestly why she didn't one of the reasons why she didn't get the presidential bid in 2008 was because of media manipulation.
Right.
And that thing, media manipulation matters, which is why it's so important for people to consume as much information as they can, firsthand. One of the best things about having season tickets to Falcons games is we get to watch the game without commentary. All we got is Big Tigger, and he's not giving us any analysis on the game.
He's just telling you what the play went for.
Right. We're watching what happens on the field, and we don't have to worry about Sanchez and them up there trying to explain to us what's going on. You just watch the game, you go, hey, Matt Ryan has no bandwidth with Kyle Pitts in this week 4. What the hell is going on here?
Or in week 1, hey, we just drove down the field and we got in the red zone. Why isn't Kyle Pitts in the game? You just notice this stuff because you're looking, you're like, well, I know who's getting the ball here. And even if he's a decoy, wait a minute, he's not a decoy because he's not in the game.
Hayden Hurst is on the field.
Why is the number 4 pick that's 6'6", 220 pounds not in the game? Why do we have Mike Davis lined up here, Calvin Ridley lined up over there, Olamide Zaccheaus lined up here, Christian Blake lined up here? Why the fuck is Hayden Hurst in at tight end? What's going on? Did Kyle Pitts already get hurt?
Hey,
things you notice.
Right. And another thing in that same game is we watched the Eagles offense. And when they changed their offense, people are like, the Eagles are struggling, blah, blah, blah. I go, bro, if they just run the offense that they ran against the Falcons, they will win games. And guess what? They got to the damn playoffs because they started running that offense that they run against the Falcons.
Yep.
And guess what's scary? Jalen Hurts faking the ball to the good running back out of Penn State, and you're looking at him on the edge at the DN because Jalen Hurts can run the hell out of a football.
Yeah, he can. He can. And he's a kind of, people underestimate his size. He's kind of good size. Right.
People forget about the 500-pound squat video of him.
He's not skinny at all.
No. There was a legitimate conversation about him converting to a running back, not a receiver as a quarterback, but a running back. He runs the ball like a running back. He has thick thighs. He's trunky. Not to get this is not a scouting podcast, but he has a runner's body that allows him to run the ball and not get hurt.
He's got
but hey, what happened? Let's get back to Deshaun a little bit. If Deshaun comes to the city, man, what does the city do, man? Like, fuck the football side of it. I'm talking about V103 Hot 1079 Atlanta, you know, Peter Street Atlanta, you know what I'm saying? Like, what, like the Michael Vick fandom of Atlanta, what does that look like if we get Deshaun Watson? I think we're selling out like in 2 minutes like we used to.
I think that yeah, like I said, tickets for sure won't be an issue. Well, they'll be an issue if you want to get them on the secondary market. But in terms of there being red seats that you see on TV, I think that no longer exists. You'll probably put on TV a little bit more too, considering we had only a Thursday night game this past season. I look at it from this perspective. You know, I remember Michael Vick was in a T.I. video once. And
one is Rubber Band, man. Wow.
Wild as a Taliban. Yeah, and Michael Vick's in the bitch, you know, he's just fucking whatever the fuck he was doing, but you know, he's just going crazy. I think that we see the rebirth of something like that, especially because Deshaun's from here. And you know, Vick was a cultural icon for football. Him and Allen Iverson being at kind of about the same exact time. They're both Virginia Beach guys. Shouts out to Jew and his squadron of men. And whatever they do up there, well, apparently they kill people. But nonetheless, I'm going to leave that story alone because that's not what we're talking about. I think that you see something similar with Deshaun maybe. Obviously, he's going to be embraced way more. You start getting billboards of him, like you said, Coca-Cola. You know, the endorsement opportunities are endless for him here. And
here's the crazy thing about them being endless here. For one, it's the South, and all of that liberal cancel culture shit don't fly around here.
Well, and it's a black city too, and more importantly,
niggas don't care.
The fact that if he wasn't, if look, criminally, if everybody believes the narrative that they love putting niggas in jail for any and everything, and they found nothing on this rich nigga. The thought is that either obviously there wasn't evidence, and I'm not getting him off either. I'm not saying that he didn't potentially do these things, but criminally he obviously didn't if he didn't get charged, and so or it wasn't it couldn't be proven, and so FG5
that has to be JP.
I don't know who it is.
It's one of our friends. I sent the link to the group.
Yeah. And that's no surprise. We're sitting here talking about Deshaun Watson. People bringing Matt Ryan up. But nonetheless, lost my damn train of thought. Deshaun Watson comes to Atlanta. We can see a similar thing where, you know, Little Baby's got him in a video. He's, you know, they're rocking Atlanta gear. Maybe Armoretta the Great or whatever her name is. Maybe they say
Gainesville is not Atlanta.
Well, no, but they say Deshaun Watson, that's Atlanta. You know what I mean? Maybe it changes her narrative. I don't know. What I do know is that you know, it would be a game changer. I mean, it would change the franchise. We would know what direction we're headed in for the future. The future would no longer be uncertain. We would know exactly what direction we're going in. Just imagine Deshaun Watson throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts. I mean, I know we don't know how the wide receiver core or even the run game is going to work out, but my goodness, it still would be such a beautiful sight to see number 4 connected to number 8. That would be nice.
Absolutely. You know, and we're going to pivot off of this because, you know, look, we want Deshaun Watson. And we've talked about it here on this platform multiple times. In order for Atlanta's fan base to be engaged properly, we just need a black quarterback. You know, it takes me back to the Luka versus Trey thing. I said that Luka's the better player. Trey was the better fit for the city. And I still stand on that. But speaking of somebody who could possibly be traded for Deshaun Watson, which would break our heart, looks like Baker Mayfield has booked his ticket out of Cleveland. You know, after the reports came out of Cleveland taking a Baker Mayfield meeting, Baker Mayfield comes out and tries to get ahead of it, and he leaves a note to Cleveland. Read the such. The past 4 years have been nothing short of truly life-changing since I heard my name called in the draft to go to Cleveland. This is not a message with hidden meaning. This is strictly to thank the city of Cleveland for embracing my family and me. We have made many memories and shared growing in the process through all the ups and downs. I have no clue what happens next, which is the meaning behind the silence I have had during the duration of this process. Run on sentence. I can only control what I can, which is trusting in God's plan, God's plan, God's plan, God's plan throughout this process. I have given this franchise everything I have. That is something I've always done at every stage and at every level, and that will not change wherever I take my next snap. Incomplete sentence. Whatever happens, I just want to say thank you to the fans who truly embraced who I am and the mentality that aligns so well with this city's hardworking people. Cleveland will always be a part of Emily and my story, and we will be thankful for the impact it has had on our lives, bro. Comma and don't start a sentence with and. Sincerely, Baker Reagan Mayfield. So we obviously know who his parents supported in the 80s.
Oh, Bake.
Oh, Reagan. But I think it's funny. Watson gets his own signature dish on the Magic City menu. That's funny. But I just think it's funny that Baker comes out here and puts out the statement before anything is official. And I think that just speaks to who Baker is. Baker Mayfield is an entitled, sensitive prick. Baker Mayfield, he was a good quarterback in high school, but he had to walk on. He struggled early in college, finally transfers to Oklahoma, again, walks on twice, and then he wins his Heisman Trophy, and then he starts to feel himself. And then a dumb GM named John Dorsey decides to fucking draft Baker Mayfield first overall because he has a Pied Piper mentality about him. But guess what? He's not that damn good. Baker runs from the cops. Why? Because he goes to a rival college's town and is out at the bars. Hey, jackass, if you do anything stupid, you're going to get locked up, Baker. Be smarter than that, okay? And now all of a sudden he's putting out a thank you, Cleveland, and he hasn't been traded. How about you sit back and wait until you get shipped out of town and until you start trying to say thank you, Cleveland, when all he's trying to do is shape the narrative to make himself look good so that hopefully he can go to a contender and not end up in bumblefuck nowhere into football hell because his endorsement contracts are done. Baker Mayfield playing winning football, honestly, I think it's done. He's lost his confidence. He's already hurt, and he wasn't that good to begin with anyways. So Baker Mayfield is just trying to find a soft landing place so he can continue to be Baker because Houston said, yeah, we got a trade offer for you to take Deshaun, but guess what we don't want? We don't want Baker back.
Yeah. Houston already did come out and say that was something that they weren't interested in, and which is crazy because he's from Texas, right? So you would think that what's going on, man? I can already see the comments. I mean, I don't see them, but this is Jew.
Okay.
It has to be, but nonetheless, FG5. I just don't know what the fuck that stands for.
I don't either.
But either way, that just sounds like such a Jew thing to say. Nonetheless, I could be wrong, but nonetheless, this is what I'll say with Baker. I think that he possibly hasn't gotten the fair shake from their organization. Yeah, he was garbage last year.
He got a fair shake, and he should have taken his contract.
The year before that, he was average. But remember, the Cleveland Browns, I mean, what did Juju say? Browns is going to Brown. Shit. They fucked them up in the playoffs. And at the end of the day, they won the game in convincing fashion. And Baker was still the leader of the team. Yes, you get all the blame when you lose. Yes, you get all the glory when you win. That comes with the territory of being a quarterback in the NFL. And it doesn't take somebody that's not a quarterback to say that, right? And so I just think that in reality, he hasn't gotten necessarily the fairest of shakes there. He had a terrific rookie year. And then, like I said, you've won your first playoff game, and since God knows when. And it's just one of those things that where let's not forget that he did do these things and that he did overcome being a walk-on to become the number one pick in the NFL draft. These are things that he did. He won a Heisman. He has accomplished a lot. He actually has. Now, from the standards of his peers, no, he's not good. In comparison to he's not as elite as he believes himself to be. What's so funny, man? We cannot let comments take over this podcast.
I know. I think I stopped looking at them.
And so, nonetheless, I just think that Baker hasn't gotten his fair shake, and it probably is just good that he does get a fresh start. Because I think the thought is this. It sounds like to me that Deshaun Watson's not going to Cleveland. So now you've got a disgruntled quarterback. Like Matt Ryan's obviously is a consummate professional. And he has been his entire time here, even when they show his graphic, when they're showing the best draft picks in Falcons history and the fans boo him in a fucking preseason game. It's little shit like that. And Matt's never came out. He's never bashed the city, nothing. Now, Baker, on the other hand, his wife's coming out trashing fans and stuff like that. These are the things that are happening with Baker Mayfield. And that's where his downfall has kind of started.
He talks too much.
It probably is just time for him to get a fresh start to where he can embrace another city and they potentially embrace him. He knows that he's got to perform next year because that's where his contract's going to come in. His contract's going to come in based off what he does next year. But if he stays in Cleveland, he's going to be pissed. He could play well, and let's say he does play well, he might not even take the money from the Browns. He might walk. So I think they'll tag him and he'll just still demand a trade and something's going to happen. Then next year he'll be the guy.
So here's the thing about Baker. Baker did get a fair shake. Baker definitely got a fair shake. And the reason why from an appreciation standpoint, I feel like he's underappreciated for what he actually has accomplished. I'm not saying he personally didn't get okay. So maybe so. But here's the thing about the whole Baker Mayfield situation. He made his situation worse. Okay. He didn't accept the contract that was offered to him last year. Going into the season, I'm going to bet on myself. All right, Baker, bet on yourself. Then he gets hurt. Instead of sitting out, getting surgery, getting right, he comes back and he plays like shit. And throughout his career, he's called out the training staff. He was counting Duke Johnson's pockets. You know, he was looking off Odell Beckham Jr. And then he calls out Mary Kay Cabot. He calls out Mary Kay Cabot, who is like
Browns beat writer, basically.
A Browns beat writer, insider for many, many years. Hey, bro, you don't win calling out her. Like,
he's the last person you should be calling out. You should be saying, "Hey, Haslam, we need to speak. I know you're out here, you know, building more loves and stuff, but we got to talk about something." Turn it into a Mr. Deeds situation when Mr. Deeds bought the football team and the cocky SOB quarterback comes in there and tells him, "I'm not playing another fucking down." And, you know, then he calls his dad and he said he spoke to a lady a certain way. Let's handle it like that. Don't call out the woman that's reporting on the team and she's got the connection to the organization and this is what they fucking telling her. Plus, she can make her own opinion out of it anyways because she is a columnist, and that's what a columnist do. They write their opinion, but they also bring facts into it. And so I think that he was definitely wrong from that standpoint. But like I said, just in general, I think that everybody, and maybe his bad outweighs his good, but I feel like in Cleveland, his good outweighs his bad because
only in Cleveland.
He won Rookie of the Year over Saquon, right?
I don't remember.
Let's look it up. I think he did.
Look at while you're looking it up, I'm gonna go into the next topic because I'm done with Baker, and I want to talk about a guy who maybe Cleveland should look to replace him. Colin Kaepernick comeback tour, baby. You know,
get the fuck up.
You know, it's funny. I live here in Albany, Georgia, and there's a concert coming up. It's gonna be Charlie Wilson, SWV. And I can't even think of the other singer. Girl, you know, I love you. That guy, you know, and there has been. Baker didn't win rookie, I don't think. There has been. And Colin Kaepernick is now trying to come back to the NFL. And I find it super interesting, though, because Pete Carroll came out discussing Colin Kaepernick because, you know, they brought him up there for to talk to him, to interview him, but they didn't even work him out on the field. He goes, Pete Carroll says Colin Kaepernick recently reached out to him. So, damn, bro, you asking to come play? Cool, I got you. Carroll says Cap deserves a second chance, but doesn't know if it'll be in Seattle. It's like, hey, I think the slaves should be freed, but I'm going to keep mine.
Basically.
And then there was that post that we talked about in the group earlier. Let me see if I can find it. Because I will say that kind of got up underneath my skin was that some dumb non-football player person was talking about football, and we got to stop getting these social media warriors, these social justice warriors who don't understand football, always commenting on football. Here's the post. The National Black Guide, at National Black Guide, got to share them because they posted this nonsense. Tom Brady and Brett Favre can have multiple retirements while Colin Kaepernick can't even play to retire. Wonder what white that is. It's called Brady is fucking amazing. It's called Brett Favre is fucking amazing. And Colin Kaepernick had an amazing season, had an amazing run, but that was short-lived. That's like saying you being the top marathoner in the world and then racing Usain Bolt in the marathon. Usain Bolt will have a good 100-meter stretch, a good 200-meter stretch, but he ain't good for the 26-miler. Tom Brady, he's a double marathoner. And Colin Kaepernick is cooked. He's done. I don't understand. I don't understand why Colin Kaepernick is even trying to make this comeback because it's not going to happen. Hey, Jew, you're commenting. You got my number. Call in. I know Cleveland Browns are the epitome of an ungrateful woman who thinks she looks better than she does. LBJ leaves, the economy crashes. Baker comes to town and re-energizes the entire city. Jew's not wrong there. But what are your thoughts on the Kaepernick comeback?
There is no thought. There is no comeback. That is my thought. At the end of the day, we're talking about a guy that hasn't played in 6 years and wasn't good necessarily the last time we saw him. He certainly wasn't winning games. I think the 49ers went 2-14, and either it was Chip Kelly or it was Tom
Sula.
Yeah, Tom Sula got fired. Jim Tom Sula got fired. I know that they went like 1-15 and then 2-14. It was like back years of doing it. And so the point is that those are the last 2 years of college, and he was getting benched, and then he got restarted. There was a lot.
He got benched for Blaine Gabbert.
Who Bruce Arians, once Tom Brady retired, was talking like, let me tell you, it's because some of these guys, once you get to a certain point, you start believing your own bullshit. And that's an example of it. But nonetheless, Cap settled with the NFL. He got paid. We don't know how much. Nike had been paying him secretly the entire time, based on reports. Let me not, because I don't know. I'm not in this man's bank account. But nonetheless, what we do know is that he has been compensated. And obviously it's a love for the game. Look, man, you can always love the game, but the game don't have to love you back. And that's just the real truth. And, there are 32 owners in the NFL that create the NFL. And as a business owner myself, if I don't want to hire you, I don't have to hire you. It doesn't matter if you're qualified, if you're not qualified. It's really irrelevant if you own your own business. And so at the end of the day, those 32 men don't see it. They don't think that he would be a valuable employee, and nobody can be upset at that at the end of the day, whether they're blackballing him or not. 5 years ago, I would have made this argument for Colin because I do believe that he should have been in the NFL, because even if you keep just QB1 and QB2, that's 64 quarterbacks. Colin Kaepernick was definitely one of the 64 best quarterbacks in the world.
Mitchell Trubisky has a job today, okay?
Possibly a starting one. And so I just think that, yes, he should have been given the opportunity. But at 36 and 6 years removed from the game, no, just give it up, man. You would have been smarter starting a podcast. That way you can give your insight on the game. Or I tell you what, in the USFL getting started back up, why don't we actually see you on the field finally? Get on the field and let's see, because those guys are going on the field so that they can get an NFL job too. So would you be opposed to that? Why are you so opposed to that? Why don't you go out there and throw for 600 yards and 6 TDs a game so that we can say, man, this guy really probably deserves to come to camp, even at 36.
You remember last week we talked about people feeling entitled to things and not understanding that so much is a privilege. Even some of our most basic human rights are a fucking privilege, okay?
Colin Kaepernick, his last 2 seasons in the NFL, he was 3-17 as a starter. He combined for 3,800 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, with a completion percentage of 59.1.
Yards per attempt. Give me yards per attempt.
Yards per attempt. Hold on.
Because that matters as far as painting the completion percentage.
I'm on Wikipedia, so I'm just doing the numbers in my head.
Okay.
Regardless, it doesn't matter. He still threw 59%. And so that's below 60, which is typically going to get you out of the league. I mean, Cam Newton couldn't find work.
And I'm glad you bring up Cam Newton.
Cam's much more of a specimen than Colin, and he's younger.
And think about Cam Newton.
And Cam might be out of the league now, too.
Think about what Cam Newton said when he did his little real talk or whatever he calls that shit with his pops when he left New England. He was like, man, I'm so big, like you can't have me in there as a backup because my aura. Colin has a big aura. He carries a bunch of weight with him. And unfortunately for him, he does not fit the description of a backup quarterback. Now, do I think that he could be a backup quarterback, do all the right things in the meeting room, and help the starter prepare each and every week? Absolutely. And do I think he'd be willing to do that? No. But do I think if he was put in that position, he would do it the right way? Absolutely. But I don't think that's what he wants to do.
And every owner would say, hey, man, look, we went into our piggy banks and we combined to give you a settlement, because that's where the money came from. It came from the owners. They each already paid this man and Charter. They each already had paid this guy. And at the end of the day, there's nothing that you can do about that. You already came out and called the NFL what it was.
You can't call me a racist, sue me, settle, and then say, hey, can I get my job back?
Yeah, and then think that we want to take you in at 36 when you're technically, most quarterbacks are already past their prime. And as I said in the group earlier this week, there's only one coach that is no longer in the NFL that would bring a guy that has not played in the NFL, that did play quarterback, and he even had to switch him to another position, and he didn't make the team. But even he was the only one that was even willing to do it. And we all know the story of Urban Meyer. We don't.
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
That's what you're talking about.
And Herb, Herb's been quiet recently. I wonder what Herb thinks of Colin Kaepernick, because that's the only guy I could imagine giving him an opportunity, on any level to play quarterback.
And let's be real, dog. These little highlight videos that are coming out, them some bubblegum throws, dog. Looking like Andy Dalton throwing the ball against nobody. Like Colin Kaepernick used to have a cannon.
And to go back to the USFL, you had Younghoe Koo, Falcons kicker, just signed a 5-year, $24 million contract. This was a guy that was in the XFL. Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern.
I originally played for the Chargers, missed a couple kicks. They cut him. Goes there, rehabilitates his career, gets an opportunity, never lets go, and now look at him. I don't know who the highest paid kicker is. Probably Justin Tucker, but I would imagine that his deal puts him up there as one of the highest paid kickers in the NFL. He's making almost $5 million a year.
Think about this, Parlay Pete. The NBA, and I think I sent it to the group a couple weeks ago. It was like a reel of all of these, not households,
guys that we know
games in the G League. Because if it's about the love of the game, if it's about being the best you can be at the game, you are going to play the game. You might feel undervalued, you might feel underpaid, but you go, you know what? I'm better than that guy. I'm going to go to camp and I'm going to prove to them that I'm better than him. It's not this sense of entitlement that, hey, I'm an NFL quarterback and I should be treated as such. Maybe so. Maybe you should. But guess what? You're not getting that opportunity. So like you said, go to the USFL and light it up. Like light it up. Go play for Todd Haley. You know what I'm saying? Like a real NFL offensive coordinator, a former NFL head coach. Go light it up for Haley. Throw for 400 a game, 4 touchdowns, because you are so much better than all these guys out here. And some NFL team will go, maybe Colin Kaepernick being anti-racism anti-police brutality more specifically is something that I can chomp my teeth on, because guess what? Deshaun Watson's still not clear from his sexual misconduct, and they don't give a damn. Greg Hardy knocked his old lady out, and guess what? They didn't give a damn.
And even his tenure when he came back was very short. Let's not forget that as well.
The biggest reason why Ray Rice didn't come back after his viral video, he was falling off. He was a smaller running back who was falling off, and then it's like, you know what? The juice ain't worth the squeeze.
He was falling off, and also in the beginning of the social media age was kind of in the beginning stages, and a viral video of seeing a man fucking suck a woman on an elevator that you consider your wife, that you love, it's pretty damning for the NFL. And at that point, he was already he played a position that you're very replaceable, maybe the most replaceable position in the NFL. He played that position. There was a lot of factors into why Ray Rice never got another opportunity.
Hey, but look at LeBron James.
Why Michael Vick can get another opportunity.
Yeah, Michael Vick, he fucked up dogs. You know how much white people love dogs? If we just being honest?
More than me and you.
Yeah, I'm telling you. They love them. They treat them like family. They kiss them in the mouth. I know some black people do that shit
There
too.
are fucking pictures. Look, there are people. Look, and it's
Whoa,
not
whoa.
my
dog was in my pictures.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But my point is, even for me, I mean, I have a personal family member who is an unmarried person that loves their dog, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, that is their daily routine. It's kind of like having a child, and so it just dogs are put on a very high pedestal. And so,
but if you're good, like we said at the beginning, it doesn't matter. You know why LeBron James gets to publicly promote all of his political opinions? Because he's still fucking good.
Well, he's LeBron damn James.
LeBron Flocka James. But hey, man, we got some more stuff to talk about. Is there anything else in the NFL offseason that you want to hit?
Well, we already hit that breaking news with Von Miller going to the Bills. I think that's a huge sign. I cannot believe they paid him like that, though. He did get a huge contract.
I got one for you.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that!
Hey, we won the Julio trade.
Yeah, we did. The Titans officially released Julio Jones today.
After playing
I can't say it was too much of a surprise. When you look at his cap hit and then how much money he's making, even though I know a lot of that cap still falls on us, good deal. Good deal by the Falcons. Potentially going to be something that is worth possibly Deshaun Watson coming here. Who knows? Maybe Julio makes his way back to the city.
And that's his hamstring. It's made of paper.
It's about as bad as any bone in Carson Wentz's body. I mean, that's what it seems like. And tough break for Julio, man. You know, if he didn't get on national TV and call out the Falcons the way he did, I'd feel bad. Well, I don't feel bad for him anyways, but like, yeah, he's still rich. He's going to find work. Somebody will sign him. I believe the 49ers are going to be the team. I think that Kyle is going to reach out to him, shoot him a text, and he'd be like, "You okay, bro?" You know,
Chiefs will probably make a play at him.
Yeah, that's another team for sure, because he's not going to sign for that much. I mean, at most, somebody might give Julio $5 million. At most,
I give him league minimum, whatever the veterans minimum is,
one or something.
Yeah, like, hey, I'm sorry, Julio, you got to prove it to me.
For the vets of his caliber, it's like 2.1.
Hey, do you think Carl Nassib gets picked up?
You know, funny enough, I was texting somebody earlier today, and we talked about that. I don't see why the Falcons wouldn't, check out the tread on his tires. He's 28. He's a pass rusher. He was playing meaningful minutes for the Raiders. Ultimately, that's a place that we're deficient at, and he would love Piedmont.
I'm looking at his numbers, though.
Oh, yeah. He didn't really done much.
21 total tackles, 1.5 sacks.
But you bring in Deshaun Watson and then you sign him, you know, you're kind of.
Hey, but here's the one thing about Carl.
You're making a lot of people happy, and You know,
the city satisfied. You know.
well, like I said, he would love 10th and Piedmont. There's a lot to offer in Atlanta for gays.
And hey, look here, jersey sales out the yin yang.
Oh yeah.
That's a money play.
He'd be a top seller.
Did you see ESPN's article about it? Las Vegas Raiders releasing trailblazing DN Carl Nassib. I feel like, and maybe I'm speaking out of place because if you don't identify with a certain group, you can't speak on them. But I feel like that's low key like disrespectful. Yes, he is trailblazing by being the first openly gay NFL player like on a legitimate roster, not the Michael Sam camp roster bullshit. But
Michael Sam's packs a mean sack lunch.
But do you think that Carl Nassib wants to be identified like as the gay football player, or does he just want to be the football player who happens to be gay?
I think probably personally, he probably wants to be the football player that's identified as gay because that's why he went on so long with it. And I don't know how many of his teammates did, but somebody had to have known on the team. There's no way that somebody didn't know that. But I think that he also is smart about it and also realizes that he can capitalize off of this and that he will get endorsements maybe that he wouldn't have gotten before. There's a lot of things that will come that will help him.
He's not a household name without. He's not a household name without that. But no, people knew he was gay because look, I got it on real. I got it firsthand that on the campus of Missouri, people knew that Michael Sam was the way he was just from being there, and it had to come out before the draft because it was going to come out once they started doing their background checks and stuff.
And then, asking a question, and it's just like, well, what type of question is that to ask somebody? Hey, are you gay? Like, well,
not even if they ask him, they just start looking into his life and they find it.
Even at the professionally or his teammates, once he gets there, and we're talking about, he was a co-SEC player of the year, right? So, Carl Nassib, he'll find work though.
But guess who's going to be replacing him as the other DN?
Chandler Jones. That's a hell of a pickup by them. I mean,
hey, he's a Patriot. That's a great move for Josh McDaniels to bring in somebody who can trump that Patriots way. Somebody who knows it, can speak to it, won a Super Bowl doing it, has rapport with McDaniels. Granted, it was probably limited because, offensive guy versus defensive guy, but some of those assistant coaches who are going to come from that Bill Belichick tree, it's a great talent move, but also a great fucking locker room move to build that culture there.
Well, not to mention you had to make some sort of a splash. I mean, Russell Wilson in Denver, Khalil Mack in I was going to say San Diego, LA, the other LA team.
JC Jackson.
Hey. And obviously the Chiefs still have Patrick Mahomes. I mean, so it was a move that they kind of had to make in a weird way.
Hey, man, look here. My Russell Wilson finishing third in the division is looking real good right now. It's looking real good right now.
Well, because the thought is that unless the Chiefs completely fall off, or an injury.
Because that Chargers team was so close, and if Brandon Staley learns how to manage a football game, halfway manage a football game and not poorly manage a game, it's Hey, but another AFC team, have you seen what the Ravens are quietly doing on defense?
Yeah, they got the other Smith. Zadarius Smith, good pickup.
They got the safety from New Orleans. They haven't signed. Lamar yet.
I was about to say, what are they going to do to help him? Because that's the side of the ball to me that
I think they'll do it in the draft. They'll have both of their running backs back, so I think they're comfortable in the backfield. It's a receiver-rich draft. They go after another receiver in the first or the second to put with Bateman and Hollywood Brown, and I think they go from there. And I wouldn't be shocked. That once they get their roster solidified, that if they can get AB, I don't know if they get him early or if they get him once the season gets started, but I think that there could be a door that opens up for AB. And they put AB on an incentive-laden contract They're going to wait for the medicals to come back because he has to have ankle surgery and stuff like that. And I really think that they could finally, between Hollywood, between Lamar, with those Florida ties, and then that strong culture of, hey, bro, we will kick you the fuck out of here, like the Patriots did. Not like Tampa, where they reneged and then eventually got rid of you. No. We will kick your ass up out of here if you don't act right. And I think maybe they bring in AB because guess what? AB is still a very good number one receiver in this league.
Well, it's still AB.
Yeah, he's still AB. He just doesn't have the volume.
It's giving me Mike Vick vibes, man. And I say that because one thing I will say about the Michael Vick era, they didn't really give him very much help from a receiving core standpoint.
Michael Jenkins? Fearless, peerless Price? Brian Finneran? Algie Crumpler was decent.
Well, and Algie was a draft pick. But I'm just saying in general, you start talking about the Falcons never truly invested. There was no reason why in that era when T.O.'s moving from San Francisco, Randy's moving from the Vikings, that the Falcons didn't get involved. The Raiders only gave up a fourth for Randy Moss in 2004. You just came off the NFC Championship that year.
But Randy Moss would be bad for the locker room. Guess what? No, he would because he can run fast and Michael Vick can throw the ball far.
And that was the combination you kind of needed at that time. And I remember there were always rumors about it, you know. Even then, I remember reading ESPN articles. There were always rumors about it. But I don't know. It's an interesting thing. As you should, FG5, as you should. And
you keep up your drafting strategy in the league. We support it over here.
I do too.
I love your drafting strategy.
We got to start doing something about last place, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there needs to be some shameful act that somebody has.
There needs to be something that prevents tanking.
I got a funny one, but I can't say it out loud.
Why?
It's totally inappropriate. It may offend one of the friends who's not even in the league, but is in our group text and may offend a certain community that I do not want to offend. Read in between the lines there, buddy.
Well, I hear you loud and clear there. But nonetheless, you know, we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, last football topic before we go pop culture, man. Buck and Eggman is official to ESPN. Now I'm gonna tee you up for this one because don't get me wrong, I support this move for ESPN for having just a great voice on Monday Night Football. Hopefully it lands some good games. I support it even more for Troy and Joe because Fox was only going to pay them so much money because they have the rights to all of these games and people are going to watch. And guess what, Troy Aikman? You're not the main attraction anymore. This is not the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s. We're here to watch Dak, Zeke, and CeeDee Lamb show up, okay? So, yes, Troy, you're really good. Joe Buck, you're fucking amazing. Y'all are the best tandem we have in football right now. But Fox has too many games, has too many viewers to overpay you. Sorry, you know, up until this upcoming season, the AFC wasn't as watchable as it's going to be next year. And CBS is going to demand more eyes. But guess what? They have a way worse pregame show. James Brown's hairline is awful. The video quality is absolutely terrible. So, you know, they have to overpay Tony to get high-end talent there. But the one place that I was perplexed, and here's where I'm going to cue you up, and I thank you for this, is I didn't get why ESPN would overpay for Troy and Joe when they're also paying the Mannings out the fucking ass for the Manning cast. And I go, why would they overpay? And then you said it's about the ESPN car wash, man.
It is. And not only is it going to be about that car wash, but we're going to get, like we said, of course, Troy and Joe will both be on these shows. They're going to be on these shows. And, of course, with Buck, you're going to get him baseball. ESPN still does baseball. He's going to be doing plenty of ESPN baseball. I personally liked him on the World Series. As biased as he was, he's just really good at calling games, in my opinion.
Like he is our name that announcer. But Howard Cosell?
Yeah, it's a guy that you can listen to, and he's got the voice. He delivers. Sometimes lets his opinion get in the way, I think, because it's clear that he had a Dodgers bias for whatever reason. And the Atlanta sports radio talk people, they thought he put 10 large on the Dodgers the way that he was talking. And I get it. You had to combat Smoltz because Smoltz at least was keeping it professional. And we know that Smoltz is a Brave, and we knew that he wanted the Braves to win. There's no mistake in that. But talking about one of the greatest Braves pitchers of all time. So of course he wants them to win. But he kept it professional at the bare minimum. Joe Buck would, kind of say stuff, kind of like what he did with Randy Moss. That is the most sickening act. And it's just like he fake dropped his pants, Joe.
Yeah,
stop. Yeah, stop it. And, so that'll be the one thing. And the other thing will be now, at least even with Troy's biasness, we don't have to look up, because the Cowboys aren't going to be on Monday Night Football. I wonder if the casino put that up, the over-under would probably be set at 3 or 2.5 on Monday Night Football games with the Cowboys, because we know that with Fox, they were pretty much always America's game of the week. And especially when they're good, they played probably half the season. That was always the 4:15 game. And so.
Can I push back on you real quick, though?
Go ahead.
Troy had a rooting interest in Dallas winning, but Troy was very honest, in my opinion, about the product that Dallas put on the field.
He was criticizing.
And if Dallas puts a shit product on the field, Troy would clean him up on the game. And then when he did his rounds on local talk radio, he had no problem talking shit about the Cowboys. So, yes, there's a bias, but come on, man. And here's where I'll tell you Fox lost Troy. When Tony Romo got the fucking playoff game, you got to go fight for that game. It's like, hold on. I'm Troy Aikman. I'm Mr. 3 Rings. This is Tony Romo. He hasn't won 3 playoff games with Dallas. He fumbled the ball on the damn extra point in the playoffs. And he gets our playoff game.
I got 3 rings, and even though I might have not been the reason we got those 3 rings, I still fucking got them, and I'm still a Hall of Famer.
My jacket's gold. He'll never get one of those.
Right. They're not even going to consider him for one. In
No.
reality, we'll remember Tony Romo fondly as a player. I thought he was a good player, but
yeah, I mean, I always said Dallas.
He kind of left the game early to begin with, I guess because of injury. And then, I don't know, if you can make $20 million a year calling games, why not?
Hold on. You said Tony Romo left the game early?
I believe so, yeah.
He left the game early because somebody who was behind him was better than him. And think about how good the Cowboys were the year before. Yeah, and he didn't want to go anywhere else by his own choice because it wasn't that serious to him, right?
Denver was the team that they were linking him to because that thought was he would replace Peyton Manning.
But
that's the thought.
But back to he had a little bit of entitlement, right? He was like, I'm the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. I'm not going to go play anywhere else or be someone's backup, right?
Yeah.
Tony Romo was a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, wasn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So it's not like a race thing. That's why Colin Kaepernick's not in the league.
That's like a trick question. And I say that because I don't think it was race why he didn't get a job. He should have gotten a job. His
racial stance got him out the league, but there's also white quarterbacks who can lose their jobs. And because of whatever reason that they're not playing at the best, because he was hurt. He kept getting hurt. And then Dak was balling out.
And same with Troy. Troy's career ended the same way. He kept getting concussions and, I'm just talking to the Kaepernickers. The Kaepernickers. The Kaepernickers. Y'all niggas are so cap. You Kaepernick. The Kaepernickers. Joe and Buck, I think that they're going to be great. It makes sense, but it doesn't just because. But, there's a lot of people like myself. I don't mind the Manning cast. I just am not a big fan of people talking over the game. And so, especially as somebody that likes going to games anyways, like we said, we don't even listen. We don't even hear the announcers at the game, right? So,
hear Pastor Troy.
Yeah.
Ryan Cameron.
Right. Ain't no more playing GA. And, so for me, I think I think they're going to be great. It's going to make that a much more watchable product. We were wanting to watch anyways, but certainly it's going to be much more watchable. And so,
Absolutely. And Monday Night Football needs that. And I think the NFL will start funneling them better games. But hey, can we go to some pop culture filth?
we honestly don't have much of a choice.
Juicy is free. As of recording, Juicy Smollett is free.
They've already freed him after, 3 days at Club Fed?
Yeah, so let me find it. It's on my story. Justice Smollett is being released from jail while he appeals his case, required to pay a $150,000 bond. So,
which he should have. So
yeah. So,
I pay 10% of that anyways.
Yeah, that's what, 15,000.
Yeah, he got that.
So, Jussie Smollett's antics, I think, are some of the most disgusting antics one could take in life. Okay, there are a lot of bad things that you can do, but to falsely victimize yourself from a marginalized community is so fucking dangerous, because what you do is you set those up who are actually being marginalized for him being black and gay. You set them back so many steps, because those people who are already skeptical, those who feel attacked by you asking to be treated equally, they're less likely to listen to the next victim because you fucking lied. It's like the fake rape allegations. Those are sick, okay? And for those people who are coming out and defending him, fuck you, for one. I don't care if you know him. I don't care if you like him. I don't care if he got blackballed in Hollywood. Damn, that sucks. Should he have gotten blackballed for that? Probably not, but that's the world we live in. This is not where we rally around somebody to point out criminal justice inadequacies. There we go. Jussie Smollett is not the guy that we rally around. Jussie Smollett was wrong for what he did. More than him going to fucking jail, and he's appealing now, okay, so he gets to walk around free. Hopefully the appellate court throws it out and says, we don't have time for this bullshit because this motherfucker did what he did and he deserves what he got. Hell, if you ask me, he deserves a little bit more, because, again, he sets back the next real victim by being a fake victim. And y'all want to sit here like, what's her name? Girl from the show Empire, Taraji P. Henson tries to liken this to Emmett Till. Shut the fuck up.
Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope he burns in hell. And with a guy like Jussie or Juicy or whatever they want to call him these days, I didn't even realize it. I mean, this guy was in the Mighty Ducks.
He was the light skin.
So, yeah, man, he was one of the kids. He was one of the Mighty Ducks. So he's been pulling in a check for a minute. And so at the end of the day, I don't feel bad for him because, bro, you got caught, and it's okay. You thought that it was smooth. It wasn't. You're in this position where you're on a hit show. You're practically a gay icon, I guess. I mean, let me not speak for a community that I don't know about, but practically, you're one of the first men I've ever seen have a sex scene on one of the 3-letter networks. Because I watched a little bit of Empire. Like, I wasn't like a daily can't wait to get home to be on Fox on Tuesday at 8 p.m. if that was even the time slot in day. I wasn't one of those people. But at the end of the day, I do remember catching that episode. And the point is, I don't know what issue he had, but there's been plenty of people that have been blackballed. We talked about Cap earlier. He's been blackballed, right? That's what we call it. 50 Cent recently brought up Monique, and Monique's somebody that has a fucking Oscar for a movie that she's done. And so, let's start really getting deeper into this and who even deserves this type of treatment. You, as somebody that's going to go out and say that you're getting Subway at fucking 2:45 and below zero weather, Yeah, that's a real believable story, Juice. I mean, you know what I mean? So you didn't have any fucking sandwich meat and bread at your house?
In the
I mean,
age
you
of,
were
in the age,
hankering for. There's nothing. Look, we can all go get food whenever we want. It's
age of Uber Eats, Pierce.
Uber Eats. Well, you're rich as shit too. And of course, when you're walking out, they're like, "Hey, you're that F word from
Empire.
Let's
MAGA.
nigger." Like, you know what I mean? That's what you said. And then it turns out it's some African guys. You knew them. They were your personal trainer. Apparently, you were fucking one. You were kissing one. You were doing coke off somebody's dick, I think, or something like that. A lot of stuff was going
Allegedly.
on. And now they just set it up. But then you made up the story. Come on, man.
Bro, it's just so bad. And you know, I was having a conversation with somebody about this today. Do you really think that somebody who would identify with MAGA would even know who the hell he was? Like that white supremacist crowd. Like, bro, I didn't know who he was until it happened.
It's on Fox.
Huh?
For what it's worth, the show is on Fox. But
yeah, but Fox regular
devil's advocate, by the way. I'm not
regular standalone Fox and Fox News are two totally different companies.
Tucker Carlson doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, bro, I didn't know who he was until this happened. And then I coined the phrase Juicy Smollett or Smollett, whatever, and I got the facts to prove it. Dave Chappelle heard my podcast, and I'm sticking to it. Sorry, I just had to get that out there.
Hey, get it off your chest.
Bro, I went back and went through my old pods to find it, and I'm like, nah, bro, y'all are not giving Dave credit for shit that I said, even though he's going to get credit for shit that I said, just like ESPN ran. Would it make sense for Houston to trade Deshaun to Arizona for Kyler? You heard it here first.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, because to me, it was an ideal move. And I guess that still remains to be seen, too, in terms of deals.
All right, man, let's some more pop culture filth. I was listening to this song by Lotto and 21 Savage, 2121. And his line was, let me find it. Where are my notes? His line was, if you fake a relationship, then you still in pussy. Which ultimately means that if you are acting like you're with a girl in order just to have sex with her, that's akin to rape, because she is having sex with you under a set of pretenses that she's actually not agreeing to. And
I guess we need to define what faking a relationship is. Is it that you realistically don't because
look, if a girl
fake relationships are cheat. So I know it can't be like the
I think it's
more of a sense of you're getting into a relationship with the idea that you have no possible, you're not going to end up with this person.
Right. And then you just act like you want to be her boyfriend just to get her pussy.
Yeah, but once you hit, I mean, I don't know how that works for people, but I know that in my previous situations in life that, man, I've never done that. But at the same time, whenever there was someone I wanted to continue to sleep with, but they maybe wanted a relationship, I would simply say, I'm not trying to be in a relationship. And then they make the decision if they want to continue to keep fucking me. And so that's kind of where I draw my line with that. I don't think that that's one of those things where there's no way some ass is so good to the point at where you've got to fake it to make it happen.
Maybe not for you, but you don't speak for everyone. And some people may not be comfortable standing out there on that ledge and like creating a boundary. They're just doing what they can to get the sex. Mm-hmm. And then also, I mean, because I know stories of a girl being like, hey, I don't have sex with guys who I'm not in a relationship with. And the guy can go, well, I really want this pussy. So,
sweetheart.
Right. And then that happens. But I think it's a nice line that actually should be talked about, especially coming from the male perspective of saying like, hey, bro, if you are trying to get sex from a woman in any way that is not consistent with the way that she's trying to have sex with you, that shit ain't cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I won't go to the point to calling it rape.
I'm not going to take it that far because it's consensual.
No. Right. But
I think it's just dirtbaggish.
Yes.
It's dirtbaggish. That's probably the best way to put it. It's bro, you really need to find yourself in this world because, you know, at the very least, even if you're selfish, have some compassion for somebody else and their feelings. You know, have some compassion for the idea of, don't you think that maybe, look, man, there might be a dude out here that she's going to find that is going to do all these things that she wants you to do. Let her go. Let her do it.
Exactly. So, like, you know, in today's age, it's 2022. Bro, just be honest, man. There's a bunch of hot girls out there who are about it. And you can just, you know, they'll go for what you want. Hell, you can just buy them a little Birkin. But I just said a little Birkin, like a Birkin is cheap. I was looking at Birkin prices the other day. I said,
minimum,
oh, my God.
Minimum 10,000.
I'm like, oh, you asking for this?
10,000 minimum, brother.
Like, why would you just not ask me for a down payment on a house or a car?
10,000 minimum, brother.
10,000 for something you walk around with in your hand? Babe, I can get you a vet for 50.
10,000 minimum, brother.
Man, that really, I didn't realize Birkins cost that much because I can't afford that. So it was never in my, like, you know, things to think about. And I have never seriously entertained a woman in my life who wanted things like that, you know, because I don't give off that image. And again, I'm in a relationship. I'm damn near married, if we're being honest here.
Big stepping.
Right. Like, but back when I was single, preface that, back when I was single, you know, I'm not spending like that. Like, if I'm spending, we enjoying, I'm not about to buy you some shit and just say, here, take this. You crazy as hell. That ain't who, man, stop. But anyways, if that's what you want to do, that's your, let's talk about Ye and Pete, Ye and Skeet.
I think the funniest thing about this is obviously being a big Kanye fan and seeing it. Kanye, it used to be, like I said, back when I had Twitter, it used to be, you know, when Kanye, because he didn't tweet very much to begin with. And that's like the first social media. He had his own blog too, Kanye University. I used to get on there a lot too when I was younger. But nonetheless, he would just kind of blog stuff back when blogs were popular. And, you know, I guess to see it now, because he's older too, to go along with it. I mean, my thought is this, especially when you're going through a nasty breakup, regardless of who's right or who's wrong. And he's kind of the thing about Kanye is he kind of simultaneously does both, because he is moving on, because he's clearly publicly out, whether that was to make Kim jealous or what the motive was. He's out here with these hot chicks. And Julia Fox isn't the baddest chick in the world, but she's an attractive white girl, in my opinion. And so,
why does she have to be a white girl? How come she just can't be an attractive girl?
I just wanted to display what type of woman she was. But and the same thing with is it Channel Jones or Channel Jones? I don't know her name. Whatever. The chick that kind of some people think resembles Kim. She's hot. She's hot. He was dating a black chick too, even before the Julia Fox thing. That was hot. Like, it was like this hot young model. Bro, and he's got the money. And
whoa! Breaking news: Kanye has been suspended from Instagram for 24 hours.
Really?
Kim made a call.
And wasn't she on? Somebody put that into the group earlier. Wasn't she on?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, who Kanye called out too. In one of those rants, one of those basically left-wing type rants that he did.
Because apparently Pete has Kim's name branded on his chest. That's some sucker-ass shit.
It is. It's super suckers. And then what that tells me is, too, not trying to be funny, she was fucking him while with Kanye. Clear.
When they kissed on SNL, that was a real kiss.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This stuff happened. This stuff's been going on for a
Hold on 1
minute.
second. Let's see. Here we go.
There's a tattoo that says Kim. Yeah, he has a few tattoos, few cute ones, that he got. But this one it's not that one. The Kim one isn't a tattoo. It's actually a branding, because let me explain it. Because he wanted to do something that was really different. Because first tattoo he got, I was like, oh, so cute. Thank you. Oh my God. So, second, whatever. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But that's what tattoo people do, right? They get tattoos of what's going on in their life. And
Wait, back
so I
up.
was like,
back
am
up.
I
Back up.
special?
You said
Yo, this nigga Pete's a sucker.
Yeah, it's definitely sucker behavior, and
You gotta be at least a year in before you go get some tats.
well, branding is obviously permanent. I mean, you can't remove your skin. I mean, I guess you can, but
A brand with Kim? This is what tattoo people do. I just get tattoos. Bro, he is a simp. He is a sucker, and he is just happy to be in her presence. And maybe this is toxic masculinity, but if you are a man who is happy to be in your woman's presence, yo, you in the passenger seat, baby. And I'm not saying that a relationship is who's in the driver's seat versus who's in the passenger seat. Nah, y'all should be co-captain in the ship.
he scored some pretty attractive women, though. I mean, I know he was with Ariana Grande, right?
Yeah.
I found Ariana Grande attractive.
Me too. I liked her more
But before, when she was, I'm talking about when she was on Nickelodeon, and I was, I guess, high school when she was on that show. She was super hot. I was like, man, who the fuck is that? Because she was really attractive.
I'm an Ariana.
She still looks good, but I'm not as attracted to her as I used to be. When I was younger, I was like, man, she's hot. But
I don't like her tattoos. And again, she can do whatever she wants to her body, her choice. But I'm saying I liked her a little bit better without them. And I'm not against women with tattoos.
Lee, nobody asked you what color you like of the house, okay? The owner gets to decide what color they want that house to be. All right.
You're right.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Kanye allegedly being upset about Kim and Pete because Pete got a big swanker?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know how true that shit is. And that's why Charlamagne didn't exclusively say it. When I say how true it is, I don't know how true it is that Kanye called this man to talk about another man's dick. Doesn't that sound a little weird in general?
Here's what I don't.
How would Kanye know?
I don't believe anything. Well, weird shit happens in Hollywood. That's how he'd know. I don't think that. I mean, hell, for all we know, they could have been doing some three-way shit back in the day, and he was just a little love boy they brought in there. Who knows? Allegedly, not even alleged. I'm just saying this is some random shit.
Yeah. Just trying to make sense of it.
Right, but
But
listen to this. You say like Ja?
Well, didn't Dave ask?
Yeah, let's get Ja
here to make sense of this.
but Kanye and
I'm not calling you Ja.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Just a play Ja.
Ye and Charlamagne did that whole little
sit down, that Oprah fucking one.
Yeah, let's walk through fucking Montana, Wyoming barefoot on the ranch and shit, right? And then all of a sudden that relationship fell off because I listened to how Charlamagne talked about him. And one of the biggest reasons why I'm less of a Charlamagne fan now than I was is because now that he has industry relationships, just because the Breakfast Club is so big, he lets the niggas he fucks with live. And if he doesn't like you or if he doesn't know you, he will give you the business. And he went from loving Kanye to hating Kanye, and he gives Kanye the business. So I don't trust anything that comes out from Charlamagne about Ye because the relationship has splintered. And that's one of the things that I look at when I look at media personalities. What is your relationship on the person you're covering? And that's how much validity I give it,
Yeah.
When I hear Colin Kaepernick speaking about something with the Colts or the Chargers, I go, he had a really good relationship with Tom Telesco and Chris Ballard. He sat in Tom Telesco of the Chargers draft war room one year for the first round of the draft. He's going to be very nice to them. And if he has any information about the Chargers, it's probably true.
He slurps off Justin Herbert so much. It's not even funny.
Oh man,
Justin Herbert clearly is a budding star, but like
he
I've
hasn't
never seen somebody slurp off a guy that hasn't even made the playoffs. And let's stop the BS too. Both these teams, they done been talented. They done been talented enough to go to the playoffs.
Oh yeah, no.
And bro, I get it. He's entering his third year, but come on, man. I saw Matt Ryan do this already and actually make the playoffs. Go ahead, cue up that rise up because, God damn it, these are facts. These are facts. I saw Joe Flacco go to the playoffs, and he put up solid. So,
Parlay Pete, you know who else he shot some bail to yesterday?
Who?
Sam fucking Darnold.
He was a Sam Darnold believer.
And he still wants to believe in Sam Darnold, just like he still wants to believe in Carson Wentz. He said he said Indianapolis made a mistake by moving on from Wentz.
Okay. If they get Matt Ryan, they didn't. Now it will be a question of who they get. I think if they get Jimmy G, they didn't. Well, you could end up with one of those guys. You don't lose, in my opinion.
The thing is, people don't like Carson Wentz. That matters. I don't give a fuck how good you are. If you're not Big Ben in his prime, you don't get to be a guy that nobody likes. Again, when you're good, it doesn't matter. But back to Kanye and Skeet. Here's what really kind of bothered me about this whole thing. Because for the most part, I don't have strong opinions on this. Like, it's their business, not mine.
Right.
But when the text messages came out, one from Pete's side, bro, why are you leaking text messages? Okay, you're going to pull
leaking them through somebody else at that.
Right. At least Kanye does his weird shit on his own. But the fact that he's telling him, like, hey, your wife is one of the best mothers I've ever known. Dog, I know.
Well, nobody's questioning whether or not she's a good mom. We're questioning whether or not and from his perspective, whether or not he can see his kids when he wants or police them from what he doesn't want because he, too, is 50%. This is a joint thing. You're doing something that I exclusively, if there's one thing I'm telling you, I just can't get with this. She's too young. Y'all are sexualizing my child already, putting her on social media. Because that's exactly when you look at the scope of social media, and this is just, aside from the Kanye aspect, when you do look at the scope of social media, 50% of it is porn. Am I right, Justice?
Yes.
50% of this is it's damn near porn.
Bro, empty ENT.
What women are on social media, if they're not selling a business, and that business typically is sex, but not to sound like a toxic masculine guy that's bitter or is mad that he doesn't have big tits and a fat ass. I don't want to sound like that. But what I am saying is that that's what's being sold at the end of the day. And so half of it is it's pretty much sexual for the most part in nature, even for younger girls, like in a sense of, think about it. I have seen on my popular page, there could be a girl that might have just turned 18 and graduated from like high school. Now it's a chick with this crazy body, basically. But the point is that it's almost borderline pedophile-ish in a sense of, well, I tell you what, and actually somebody put that in the group too. It's not called pedophile. It's actually called something else. But the point is, if trying to explain it will make you sound like a pedophile. But nonetheless, it's almost like you're putting this thing out, and there's nothing wrong with taking pictures of yourself, obviously. I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, I don't sit up and get in the mirror and want to show people my fits every day or, look at my face. Do you think I'm pretty? Whatever. Like, I'm not into that. But
bro, we took the Instagram picture a month ago and we never posted it.
Right. And honestly, sometimes you keep that stuff just for yourself anyways.
Exactly. But, here's the thing. For one, don't talk to me about what type of parent my former significant other is. That's none of your business.
Yep.
Her parenting standards may be high enough for you, but she may be doing some stuff that doesn't sit right with me. And at the end of the day, that's my kid. I have a say. Back to what you said.
And that's what matters.
I'm a public figure. I know what public praise and public ridicule feels like. My child will be a public figure no matter what happens because her parents are probably the most famous couple in the fucking world to ever come together.
Very true.
I do not want my child to be directly open to any of this stuff until I feel that my child is old enough and mature enough to handle the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes from it. Because guess what? There is a creep plotting on Kanye's daughter as we speak.
Very true. Very true. And I just think that, we can't look at him and like he's crazy. I mean, she's clearly been screwing this dude, and this guy's got a brand on his chest. I mean, nobody's calling this out. Now it's cute because it's on Ellen. And it's just like, but as a dad, it's like this dude, now she's trying to bring this dude around my kids because clearly they spend enough time together. And God damn it, them nannies can't be just working 24 hours. You know what I mean? Because they're always, out of town, whatever. Maybe they bring the kids with him. Kanye's got his time.
And how much work is Kim really doing throughout the day with her businesses? At this point, they're
runs itself, and you hire people to run it for you.
Right? Yeah, they're a well machine.
I would want to, if I ever got to the status of making that type of money, I would still be in on the day-to-day operation because people will steal. There's like a lot of stuff that can happen, but at the same time, you've got somebody that you trust to run your operations.
It's less 9 to 5 and more of 9 and 5, right?
Yeah.
I need a morning briefing. I need an end of the day briefing. I need to see my books every so often so I can track spending and input outputs and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But it's not the 9 to 5 grind, because she needs to create content for the show. If she's not living and like doing stuff that's not nosing books, that doesn't make a good show.
Exactly.
So I just think that, again, Pete, do not talk to me about my baby mom's, my ex-wife being a parent. You can't do that. It's not your kid. I'm not interviewing her to be the nanny. So I'm not asking you for a reference. Nigga, I vetted her before you touched her.
Right, dog. She went from being pretty damn famous and being a reality TV show star to now being a businesswoman. Somebody that people want in their fashion, having her own line of clothes. And it's not that she didn't do it on her own, but obviously Kanye certainly helped mold and create.
Easy taught me.
Exactly. And Kim as a whole, like I said, it's went from the only thing that she was known for was sucking Ray J off to that was Kanye. Like, you know what I mean?
And she was a fashionista before.
Yeah, sure. Paris.
She wasn't big yet. She was a socialite and fashionista.
Yeah, but the way that she dresses now, it's very Kanye-esque, and we see it. I mean, it makes a ton of sense. And so and Kanye's a guy which is why he's got his thing that's so successful with Adidas. He's always had good taste in clothing, and so,
Hey, so did you you see the quote that everybody's mad about that Kim said about work? About women need to work?
Yeah, I did. I got to hear it finally. And how she said it.
I'm not mad at her, and I know it's a soundbite, and because it's a soundbite, it's going to do what it did, and that's what it was supposed to do. And
I'm not on TV. This wasn't something said privately that somebody recorded. It was meant to be put out.
Exactly. And I don't disagree with Kim at all. You have to work. If you're not working, it's not going to happen. Colin Kaepernick, you got to work. You got to work to be in the profession that you want to be in. But also with Colin Kaepernick, you have to have good fortune, and the people in the profession that you want to be in, there has to be people there who want you, whether it's your work, whether it's your status, whether it's your privilege, whether it's your money, whatever the case may be, that comes along with it. But to come out here and try to knock her work ethic, I think it's pretty disrespectful to who she is, because she grew up the daughter of a millionaire lawyer, a guy who represented O.J. Simpson. Got it.
Friends with O.J. at that, too.
Right. Yeah, sister of O.J.'s daughter, allegedly. But here's the thing, though, Parlay Pete. Look at Paris Hilton. Look at Kim Kardashian. Both of them were born with fortunes. One with more than the other, if we're being honest here.
Yeah. Hilton's hotels
Right.
are everywhere.
What did they do with the opportunity?
They seized it.
I know, but who built the family's empire more and who didn't? Like Paris Hilton, she socialite, porno, she did her thing, she's rich, she didn't have to do anything, right? But Kim leveled up. And for people not to acknowledge that she leveled up is disrespectful to what she actually did. Now, she ain't say, I got it out the mud. She didn't. She got it off the silver platter, but she took it off that platter and she upgraded that silver platter to a platinum platter.
Yeah.
And then built let's be real, that sex tape built an empire for the whole fucking family.
Yeah. You got everybody set with who they got children with, to where regardless of what the dad does, they got their own success to where, and they're smart enough to where they can capitalize off of that to begin with. Not to mention it gives them more pub because they know these are people that they're all a part of a family. And so it really set itself up nicely for them. And Kim is obviously deserves the credit. And of course, Chris as well. Chris, clearly she's very good at manipulating and I'm not even gonna say using her own children, but like
she's an AAU dad, bro.
Yeah,
she's an AAU dad.
Yeah. You know, that honestly, that's a perfect way of putting that.
Like we
On
don't knock the AAU dad for pimping his kid to get him into a good school and get him to the league,
and moving them from AAU team to AAU team, making sure that exposure is still
from school. Hey, fuck that. From school to school. Like, hold on, this school gonna pay gonna put a down payment on a house for us and cover the mortgage while you're here, and your little brother gonna be able to come through the same pipeline. That's real shit. You know what I mean? Or hold on, this one school ain't gonna cover our bills, but they're gonna give us a job that pays this much. This other school gonna give us the house, the job, and still pay half the bills. Like, that's real stuff that happens in high school recruiting. So to act like what Kris Jenner is doing, pimping out her kids,
it's crazy.
It happens. And granted, her hustle's better than most.
It's crazy. I think that she doesn't get the credit that she deserves with that. And, and then not that this means anything, but in reality too, let's not forget too. I mean, Kim is a beautiful woman. Like, she is a beautiful woman, regardless of surgery. Regardless of surgeries, she's still pretty fucking hot. She still is hot. I mean, like I said, Kanye fan. I mean, but salute to Pete. Pete's like my age, literally. I think he's literally 28, and bro, that's a big accomplishment to be on that position, to even be able to score something like that. And, we can't be mad at Pete for wanting to bang her. Like, Kanye can't even be mad at that, because that's what Kanye wants to continue to do. That's why he got the kids with him. But Kanye can be mad about, his kids. And the idea that he wanted to keep his family together, which now it sounds like at least he's over that part. Now he is kind of just antagonizing the whole thing. But at the same time, when you're going on fucking Ellen and you just got divorced not even a whole month ago, you talking about this nigga got a brand. I know from my perspective, as rich as they are, he probably already knows. And that might be why he's doing it. He might have found out that, you motherfucker. And then the thing is, too, I remember even when that picture was taken a long time ago, because it showed people were highlighting how Cudi and Kanye were back together. But Pete Davidson was there, and he's like, he talks about being one of these kids that Kid Cudi saved. Obviously, Kid Cudi being Kanye's artist, he's the one that gave Cudi a chance. It kind of comes full circle for Kanye, and I can see why he would have such a big issue with all this.
Yeah, man, you was around.
From the outside looking in.
And then
knowing in totality what really is going on.
You kissed my wife in my face.
After she put this SNL thing, her monologue talked about how she was married to me and all this.
Yeah, nah.
That ain't cool with that shit either.
Nah, and you're around my kids too. Like, there's so many things to be upset about. And I will say that I wouldn't respond in the way that Kanye responded, but Kanye has always put his stuff on his sleeve. He's been on Front Street with his responses to things that he doesn't like. So we can't pick and choose when we want to allow Kanye to be Kanye. And that's where I go as we close up this Kanye conversation about his battle with D.L. Hughley. I think it's petty and funny.
I think
And
that shit's hilarious. When he said something about, he's like, this man fucking basically woke up and put this on.
the worst part, what does it say about D.L. Hughley as a comedian that Kanye's jokes were funnier online? Like DL was going for those like low blows where you go, bro.
Like you got a Kardashian date a white man. How bad of a black man must you be? Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny, DL.
Throw the tomatoes at him. Boo this man.
You call yourself a king of comedy.
I've never thought that he was funny, but that's just my opinion anyways.
I just never thought
D.L. Hughley was funny. But
I never thought his stand-up was funny. I thought that he was kind of funny when he would start making jokes about people in the crowd. But I watched Kings of Comedy 2 weeks ago, and I go, ooh, boy, they really swung and missed with this guy. There was somebody else that could have been on here that would have been a better person. Right. Let me see if I can pull up some of DL's tweets from today. Ye is at it again, huh? Well, at least I wasn't crying on the phone about how big Pete's Peter is. If you want her back instead of acting up, why don't you try doing some dick ups? Hashtag Team DL. Hashtag Kanye. Do you know how horrible you got to be to make a Kardashian date a white man? Hashtag Team DL. Kanye, how dare you talk about the way someone dresses? Look at you, all those people in your head, and not one of them got a Macy's card. Nigga, Macy's.
Yeah, that shit was corny as fuck. But
last one, Kanye, ain't it funny how you can explain my jokes but not your behavior?
Sounds like an old man making jokes, man.
Like, hey, old man, shut up.
He's a cornball brother.
He is, man. And what I really liked about what Kanye talked about on Sunday, I believe it was, when he was pretty much calling out those who it seems like the left side has put all their trust and faith in to be black voices, the D.L. Hughley's, the Charlemagne the Gods, and then Kanye says, "Hey, bro, just because I think differently from you doesn't mean I'm any less black than you all are. Like, y'all niggas don't stop playing with me. Like, I can be black and I can still think this way. I can support things that may not be as palatable to the black community, but yo, I am part of the black community. Y'all niggas are not gonna play with me like that."
Right.
But yeah, man. You got anything else? Oh shit. We're supposed to talk about the Braves and March Madness. I told you.
Yes.
Well,
you know what? You know what's gonna be great?
What?
We could possibly be able to bring back some picks for March Madness because those games will be preset. I mean, in reality, honestly, I might even be able to give us one tonight.
You would have to cook up something real quick. So
yeah, right now, yeah. I've already filled out my bracket. You guys haven't, which you guys need to do that tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
First games are at like noon tomorrow.
Bro, you know I haven't watched one full college basketball game all year.
Hey man, bracketology, it's all fun. Listen to Joe Lenardi and Jay Billis. They'll give you plenty of good. Or Keyshawn Johnson.
No,
he's the black guy.
Not listening to him. I'm gonna listen
these days.
I'm gonna listen to Mark Titus and Tate Frazier for my picks. Okay.
Gotcha.
Huge fan of those guys. We're gonna take next week off.
Okay.
I'll be traveling cross country, and the last thing that I want to do is pull into a city and record a podcast.
Understood. So this is what I'm going to do too with these picks even this week. Hold on.
Go ahead and figure out the picks. I'm just going to talk, man. So guys, I've become a sports snob a little bit. I don't watch as much college sports as I used to, and college basketball has taken the biggest hit. I followed some storylines, but even with that, I followed even less of those than I usually do. I'm sorry. I hear the kid from Auburn's really good. I hear Tennessee got kind of snubbed. They had an argument for a 1 seed, and they ended up being a 3 seed. This is Coach K's farewell tour, so I'm just going to let everybody know Duke's going to be my national champion, even though I don't think they're actually going to win it. I'm just going all in on Coach K's last year. UCLA was disappointing this year from what I've read. We thought they were going to be super good. They weren't as good as they were supposed to be. And they're still scary in the tournament because they bring back so much of what they had. Memphis got better after Imani Bates left, which is fucking crazy. But it doesn't shock me because he reclassed. He's a 17-year-old. And the thing about Imani Bates is he was either coming back to Memphis for another year or going to the G League. He wasn't going to the NBA yet. So honestly, him on that team didn't make as much sense to me because that team was it had I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Dang it. Jalen Duran, excuse me. Sorry about that. They had him and a team of veterans, and it's really a team that Penny needed to get to the tournament because Penny has not been so great. And when you're running one of those programs, if you're not going to produce like you need to in the postseason, the least thing that you need to do is be able to be in a NBA factory, put a guy or two in the league so that you can still get top end talent because you don't bring Penny in to have 4-year guys and build a nice, solid Memphis State program. You kind of want to make it an NBA factory and get to the Sweet 16 every year and occasionally get bounced out in the round of 32 and then occasionally make a Final Four. But I'm interested to see if Memphis can carry on. A sleeper team that I have, it is only off of the strength of those guys playing for Juwan Howard. Juwan Howard's back. Michigan, they got a higher seed than we expected, to be perfectly honest. Some say that they were a bubble team. But watch Michigan to be frisky. They still have good players, and I think these guys want to come out here and play for their coach. But we'll see. Are you ready?
I am ready. Now, I just have a quick question. How soon do you think you might be able to get this cut? Because that will determine some of these games, because some of the games start at 12 tomorrow.
I can cut it tonight.
Okay.
I will make it. If you want me to get it cut tonight, if you need to cut it tonight, I can cut it tonight.
As long as it can be up before 2 tomorrow.
I can cut it. I can because it's on the back end too. It's an easy cut. Like I don't have to go look for it. I can cut it tonight, and then I will put it. I can put the pick shit. I can pick the picks up tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay, tomorrow morning.
All right, beautiful.
Hold on 1 second. I got to pick my last one.
All
Here we
right.
go. I got them put together.
2:07:15. Let's go.
We are back with Pete's Six-Pack March Madness edition. Gosh, this is so great. But nonetheless, we're going to start off with the first game I have on here. And it's a team that played in the round of the first 4 and just won last night. I'm going to take Indiana money line as a dog against St. Mary's. St. Mary's has had a relatively successful season. Obviously finished the season ranked in the top 25. Really good team. But Indiana's got a big man, and his name is slipping my mind, but Jackson, I know is his last name. Boy can flat out ball. I don't foresee them being able to stop him. And Indiana's got Woody as the coach. Lee, I know you're obviously familiar with Woody and
absolutely
his work that he did here in Atlanta for the time being, getting us to be a consistent playoff team and second round, exit team. Yeah, we would get our ass kicked by Orlando. But so did all the other guys that came after him until Bud finally got here. And then obviously Nate doing what he did last year with the Hawks. Give me Indiana money line against St. Mary's. Then the next game, we got another 12 versus 5 matchup. Give me Richmond plus 10.5 at Iowa. Now, Iowa's actually one of my Final Four prediction teams. I just think that 10.5 is way too much for a team that's as good as Richmond. Richmond's been very solid all season. There's a reason why they won the A-10. 10.5 is a lot of points, point blank period. Give me Richmond plus 10.5. Next game, upset alert. We got number 10 Miami beating USC. They had them as a dog. I liked what I seen out of Miami when they played against Duke, and also the way that they fended off a pesky Boston College team in the ACC tournament. They got Evan Mobley's brother with USC. He's a really good player. He's just about the only thing that they've got. I think that Miami gets it done in the upset role. Give me Miami, number 10 Miami. Next pick, we got Iowa State at LSU. Have no idea how Iowa State ended up making the tournament. I've been watching college basketball all season. We're going to roll with LSU, man.
With no coach and no Will Wade?
Yeah, man. Which isn't it crazy that he gets fired and or did he resign? No, he got fired.
Got fired.
And they're a number 6 seed in the tournament. Unbelievable.
Well, you know why he got fired. Him and Sean Miller, Coach Patino, enough is enough.
It all falls under the same umbrella, but I still like them to get it done against an Iowa State team that won 2 games last year. And to me, honestly, probably shouldn't have been in. And I think Dayton is proving it right now in the NIT that they should have been the team that got in, certainly over a team like that. I would have taken them over Iowa State. But I know that Iowa State did have a couple of Big 12 wins this season. They beat Kansas. They beat Texas Tech, so on and so forth. I'm going to still take LSU in the favorite role. Next game, we got Delaware at Villanova. Got a little Delaware, Pennsylvania action here. Many don't even know my mom's from Wilmington, which is about 30 minutes from Philly, which is where Villanova is. Not really sure where the University of Delaware is. I don't believe it's in Wilmington. I know that Delaware State is. Nonetheless, we're going to take Villanova minus 15.5. We're going to lay the points. I think that this is one of those games where we actually do get that blowout factor. I like Villanova. Jay Wright always has that thing cooking, and they're always a problem unless they do get eliminated, typically in the opening round. Villanova typically is a team that makes it very far every year. It's either they're one or the other. They're never in between. They're literally Elite 8 or a round of 32 / round of 64. But give me minus 15.5. They'll make light work of Delaware.
University of Delaware is in Newark, Delaware.
Okay. That's close to Wilmington. It's not very far. Delaware's only 45 minutes long, but it's close. They're close. But nonetheless, final pick of this 6-pack. We're going to go with everybody's favorite fucking underdog. And a team that I've been fond of all year and that I rode their whole conference tournament embedded. We got Loyola at Ohio State. Give me Loyola Chicago, man, to beat Ohio State. Ohio State's been
Sister Jean?
Yes, and hopefully she'll be at the game. I know she's the good luck charm. I like them to beat Ohio State. Ohio State's been, for lack of a better term, really underwhelming. Like they just haven't really – they don't stir the drink for me. Their best scorer from last year came back, and they were also a team that last year got bounced relatively early. Ohio State's a football school, and we're going to see why tomorrow. It's for a reason. Give me Loyola Chicago on the money line.
All right, just to make sure I got you right, we got Indiana on the money line versus St. Mary's. Richmond plus 10.5 against Iowa. Miami on the money line versus USC. LSU on the money line versus Iowa State. Villanova minus 15.5 over Delaware. And Loyola Chicago and Sister Jean on the money line versus Ohio State.
Boom.
All right, man. Hey, real quick, one last topic, but let me make a timestamp on my piece of paper so that I can chop this clip out properly. Freddie's out of here, man. He's gone. Been sitting here trying to get you off my mind, trying to be my best, do my best to be a man and be strong. I drove myself insane, wishing I could touch your face, but the truth remains you're gone. So
she's gone.
Exactly. And we talked about this pre-show. People are trying to compare it to Chipper because he's been a quote-unquote Braves lifer. But like I told you, man, the difference is Chipper won his ring early, so it was different. He was always choosing to be a Brave, where I felt like Freddie finally got on a team, that was good enough because, in the latter years of Chipper, we had a good team, got upset, not upset. We got beaten that little bullshit wild card round, and it was like, damn, this is how we're going out. So he weathered the storm, and as the team started to look good, getting put out by the Dodgers in the playoffs, he's like, I got that itch. I want to scratch it. But now that he's up, he's a California guy, lives his off seasons in California. The Dodgers want him. Man, it makes sense. And I'm not mad at Freddie. He won an MVP for us. He came here, helped us win a World Series, played a major role in that. Put him in a ring of honor, man, whatever we call it, the Field of Dreams. I don't know what they do in baseball. But I'm okay seeing Freddie go because it's like the ex that you cared about, but you realized the relationship wasn't going to work anymore. It's like, hey, I care about you so much that I want to see you happy. And if I don't make you happy, please, I want you to be happy.
And it's a similar thing with who knows, unfortunately, we wouldn't get to break it on this show, but it could be something similar to what we see with Matt Ryan here. And it would be unbelievable if that happened, but we're not talking about Matt. We're talking about Brady. Like I said, he's been basically the Braves franchise my whole entire adult life so far, because it was Chipper in my childhood, and now it's been
Chipper handed it off to him.
Yeah, and now we're getting to see the baton hopefully go to Matt Olson. And so, well, Ronald Acuna is actually the franchise. We know that's really the franchise, but Matt Olson being the great white hope for Atlanta.
Exactly. The reason why we're in Cobb County now.
Right. Well, because a lot of people, including myself, I know when I was a kid, I used to think Andrew Jones was better. But that's because Andrew Jones was hitting 45, 50 home runs. And so and I don't know why I thought Andrew Jones was better than Chipper. But obviously Chipper was a switch hitter. He was a legendary player. Andrew Jones just going to always be a Braves legend type.
And Andrew Jones was pulling everything out of off that center field wall. He was. And so, I'm thankful for what Freddie brought to Braves country. Obviously, winning the World Series in his final year. His last hit as a Brave was a home run. His last play as a Brave was the game clinching out at first base. And, you couldn't end it any better if it was going to ever have to end, which it was eventually. And so kudos to him. I hope that he has a successful run in L.A., but because that's where he's going to go. He's going to go to L.A. I hope that he has a successful run in L.A., but not nearly as successful as I see the Braves going here in the future, especially whenever we run into them again, because we will be playing them again. And hopefully we come back full strength with Acuna and Ozuna gets cleared. And
Ozuna?
He's done. Hey, I'm looking at Andrew Jones' career stats. He's a borderline Hall of Famer.
I'm sure a lot of people would put him in that category, but he didn't
hit 500 home runs, so he's not going to get in.
Yeah,
batting average 254, 400
gloves.
Huh?
I mean, Gold Gloves.
I'm getting there. 434 home runs, 1289 RBI, 10 fucking Gold Gloves, man.
Wow, he probably should be in.
Yeah, and he got a silver.
They're so weird about that stuff. And he was a guy that played in that steroid era that I don't ever remember him getting caught up in that.
Me neither. And, bro, he got a silver slugger as a career 254 hitter to get at least one silver slugger. That says a lot, home run leader one year, RBI leader. Oh, yeah, 05 was his crazy season. That's right. That's when he's like a borderline fucking MVP candidate. Yeah, man, but we're going to chop on. I'm going to see you in 48 hours. No, 48, 72, something like that. We'll figure it out this weekend.
Let's get it done.
All right, dog. See you, dog.
All right, man. Appreciate it again.
Yep.
All right.
All here